Okay, good morning, brothers and sisters from up here in that Pittsburgh area. Anyways, just want to give you some morning news flash kind of stuff here. Basically, it's like this, I grew up in a place called Reston, Virginia. Reston, Virginia is basically the first planned community of the modern sort in the world. There are a few others that were starting up right around at the same time, but Reston was unique. Basically, I grew up in a place right outside of Washington, D.C., and basically, a lot of the people that I grew up with, their parents ran the country. And if you believe that, then they ran the world, if you believe that. So, the thing that I'm looking at is this. Reston, Virginia was the first of its kind. They brought all kinds of people from all different backgrounds together and purposefully put them in one place together. And I'm guessing it was to see how the kids got along, and to do things and to, do a social thing and to try and create a new sort of way of living. Now, there were a lot of ulterior motives behind this, and among them, there were some experiments that they were doing, And so it was also one of the first places where, basically every child got mercury put in their mouth. So Mad Hatter's disease, the term Mad Hatter comes from when hatters back in the day would rub mercury on the inside of hats, and over a certain amount of time they would basically go insane because it makes you go crazy. Now, you tell me, you think about this and just think about the logic behind it. If you put mercury in a person's mouth with fillings in their cavities and their teeth, rather than teaching them that oil pulling, swirling coconut oil in your mouth can actually fix and clean your teeth, instead or telling the parents to stop feeding their kids sugar, high fructose corn syrup, and processed foods which destroy your teeth. Instead, they put mercury in all the kids' teeth, straight up. We were also the first place that pretty much every kid was eventually tried to, not every kid, but a lot of kids they tried to medicate the kids and medicate the adults. And so you've got an entire class of people coming out of Reston that either believe in psychiatric medication or are on it themselves, or their parents are on it, or they put their kids on it. So it's kind of an interesting thing. And I talked to an elder some time back, and he basically said that psychiatric medication didn't even really have any ground until the 1980s when we had an actor as a president. So Ronald Reagan, during the time of Ronald Reagan, a lot of strange things got kicked in around this country. Now here we are, 40 years later, 30, 40 years later, and it's been repercussions have been slowly building and building. So when people try to change a culture, they don't do it in 2 seconds or in a couple weeks or a couple years. It takes decades. And so that's kind of what's going on. And the interesting thing about that too is you've got to think about those drugs that they put in everybody's bodies do get recycled into the water system. Drugs don't just magically disappear. They go through your system and come out the other end in your waste material, whatever you want to call it, your urine, your feces, and goes into the water supply, and then those drugs are basically recycled back into human beings again. So it's an interesting place I came up from, and just wanted to share that with y'all this morning as I get my day started. So yeah, stranger things have happened. So I would just say this: be aware of what you give your children, be aware of what's going on in the world around you, and buy my art if you give a fuck. And if you don't give a fuck, don't give a fuck, and I won't give a fuck either. Whoop-de-doo, haha, have a good day. I'm stupid as hell, yeah, but I'm also not. And the sun is shining, weather's great, makes you want to move your dancing feet. All right.